10,000 miles later, guys. Look at that. Beautiful orange F80. All right, yeah, so let's get to the maintenance cost of an S1000Rr because that seems to be what's on people's minds the most. Reliability. This bike is everything I thought it was, plus more, man. A short-term review from your average Joe that just pulled up to his 9 to 5. Yeah, that's all this video was, man. Hopefully you guys took away something from it. 10,000 miles later, guys. Let's get into it. Now, this isn't going to be some super in-depth review about this thing. This is just going to be a 10,000 mile review from your average Joe that just so happens to own a BMW S1000Rr. Now, with that said, the first thing I want to touch on is how I actually came about buying this bike. So, for those of you that don't know, I did buy this bike secondhand from the original owner. It had 1,500 miles on it. It was bone stock. I brought it out in New Jersey, and I found it on Facebook Marketplace. It was an older gentleman. He had multiple bikes. He had a ZX-10R as well. This was kind of his trophy bike. He didn't really ride it as much, obviously. Throughout the course of 4 years, he only managed to put 1,500 miles on it. I brought this back in 2021, I believe April 2021. But let's just cover maintenance costs really quickly because that kind of seems to be where everyone's focus is with this thing. And I'll tell you right now, the maintenance costs, the running maintenance cost of an S1000 is, oh, we got a student driver. Look at that. Beautiful orange F80. All right, yeah, so let's get to the maintenance cost of an S1000Rr because that seems to be what's on people's minds the most. And I will say maintenance costs for this bike is pretty much like every other bike. You got to clean your chain. How often you clean your chain is up to you. I usually buy a Motul chain cleaning kit. It comes with the chain clean, the lube, and the brush. And I usually clean my chain after each ride or after every other ride. That's just me. You don't have to do it that way. I know people that go months without cleaning their chain. It just depends on you and how often you want to clean your chain. And so the Motul chain cleaning kit is not expensive at all. I forget the exact price, but I don't think it's anything over 40 bucks. So that's one thing when it comes to maintenance costs that you think about. The other thing is your oil changes. Very inexpensive as well. It's like changing oil for any other bike. You buy your 4 quarts, your oil filter, and you know, I usually do a magnetic drain plug and switch that out every time. Now, how often you do your oil changes, that's also going to be dependent on you. Some people do an oil change a season. Some people change their oil every 2,000 miles. Some people change it every 3,000 miles. So again, that comes down to you. But all those things are very inexpensive. You know, your quarts of oil, your oil filter, and the drain plug, all that stuff. I don't even think, it probably comes to around 100 bucks. Or maybe a little bit over. But it's not expensive at all. So the other thing we think about when we think about maintenance is your tires. That also is, you guessed it, dependent on you. It depends on how much you ride, how hard you ride, what kind of tires you're running. Some people change their tires every season. Some people change their tires every other season. Some people out here hauling ass everywhere, going to track days, doing burnouts and all that. So obviously, they're going to change their tires probably 2-3 times a season, honestly. Love that tunnel. But tires are also inexpensive to me as well. I mean, yeah, the sporty ones can be a little bit on the pricier side, but swim through traffic a little bit here. But you get what you pay for, man. There's nothing like rocking a sticky tire on a sport bike. You know, it really helps with everything. So, but all in all, those 3 items are the biggest maintenance items with an S1000. Now, keep in mind, there is a big service that's supposed to be done, I think, around 12,000 miles, where you got to check the valves and all that stuff. I'm not sure how expensive that service is. I haven't really looked into it, but I don't think it's over, like, I don't know, I want to say 500 bucks, maybe 400 bucks, depending on the dealership and all that stuff that you go to. But yeah, man, not too bad at all. Not for a big service like that, like changing out or checking your valves and all that, checking and adjusting your valves. All right, so We covered a couple maintenance items. Let's talk about the reliability of an S1000. So far, this thing has been rock solid. You guys know I had the quick shifter issue, but that wasn't the bike. That was actually install error on the tuner's part, where he kind of snapped off the adhesive that's on the shifter. And look at the C92, looking like he's ready to cut up. Man, that thing does look nice though. Go ahead, man, cut up. be a BMW M driver for YouTube. But yeah, reliability. So he was ready to go nuts. Typical M driver. Anyways, yeah, reliability. Reliability. Woo! So, reliability. That brings me to my bike not having electronic suspension, which I purposely looked for an S1000 without electronic suspension, believe it or not. There were many S1000s I could have brought that were way cheaper than this bike. I'm talking by a lot too, 2-3 grand cheaper. And I just didn't want electronic suspension because I did my homework and I did my due diligence, and I saw that people were having issues with their electronic suspension to the point where they would fix it, the same issue would continue and continue and continue, and it would kind of just, you would end up with a lemon S1000. Keep in mind, I brought this bike from the original order out of warranty as well. So, you know, people like 650E, when he had his electronic suspension issue, he was covered under warranty. He buys all his bikes brand spanking new. And so he just, you know, brought it to the dealership and they fixed it or whatever, and that was that. But me buying this bike out of warranty, that worried me. To me, the electronic suspension wasn't the biggest deal to me. Not having it, it didn't really bother me. I rode an S1000 before I bought this one with the electronic suspension. And yeah, it's great to have, right? It's dampening is unbelievable. I think it's adjusting the settings 100 times per second or something like that, something insane. But I didn't really, you know, like I'm used to riding bikes without electronic suspension, so it's like whatever. It is a nice thing to have, but again, I brought this bike out of warranty and I didn't want to end up spending $4,000 on fixing my electronic suspension and then, you know, having to go back and forth with the dealership spending money and all that. So I just said, you know what, I'll take the standard regular suspension. So yeah, as far as reliability, this bike has been rock solid. You guys see, I drive everywhere or ride everywhere. New Jersey, Connecticut, upstate, Bear Mountain. Just came back from Hawk's Nest. You guys saw that video. So I'm around on this thing, man. You know, I'm around. I didn't get 10,000 miles by just staying local in New York City all day. So I ride this bike and I've never been scared to jump on and go, oh man, I don't want to ride there because I don't know what can happen to the bike. I will say when I first got it, I had a battery issue where when the bike would get hot, let's say I would jump on for a ride, I would go to a destination and then the bike would get hot. I would go to turn the bike on and it would just crank and it wouldn't start, or sometimes it wouldn't crank at all. And you know, the first time it happened, I jumped on the forum and I was like, what's going on? Like, this happened like literally the second day I had the bike. I went out for a little local cruise and I stopped at a park and it wouldn't start again, and I jumped on the forums. I got worried. I was like, oh man, did I buy a fucking junk box S1000? Like, what's going on? And through the forums, people were like, yeah man, you need to switch your battery. So I went to BMW Manhattan, got a new battery, haven't had that issue since. So just in case any of you guys weren't listening to that little rant, if you're having issues where you're starting your bike after going for a ride and it's not starting, get a new battery. So listen, so far, all in all, maintenance cost is very low. Reliability is there. And just in case you guys don't believe me about the reliability, I would tell you to check the forums and do your research, man. There was a guy on the forums who had like 50,000 race miles on his S1000. Like, he wasn't messing around. He was going to the track and beating the heck out of it. I'm not sure what happened to him, but yeah, he had an S1000, I believe it was a Gen 2, and he had 50,000 miles on that thing, hard track miles and everything. He just kept up with changing the oil pretty frequently. But yeah, maintenance cost again is pretty low. You're doing the bare minimum. You're buying your chain cleaning kit. I go with Motul. You're doing your oil changes, and you are possibly changing out your tires. That's pretty much it. I love when I do a pull and the bike just hops up on me, bro. It's so crazy. Look, traction is set to 7. Positive 7, and it still comes up. This bike is insane, man. Sounds so good. All right, so yeah, like I said, we covered maintenance costs, we covered the reliability, and now let's talk about my experience in general just owning this bike. Man, it's been a blast. It's been nothing but a good time. People are always taking pictures and videos of this thing. This thing is like seeing an exotic, at least here in New York. People act like they're seeing a Lamborghini or Ferrari when they see this thing. It's actually pretty insane. You know, if I'm around, people always asking me questions and all that. This bike is everything I thought it was plus more, man. It's such a good feeling machine. It rides like a dream. It's fast as shit. Like this bike is so fast to me. It's one of the fastest NA leader bikes I've ever ridden, man. Like nothing pulls like this. This thing pulls like a freaking freight train, and then like when you're up top and you're mid pull, you just feel it. You're like, yo, I'm really moving right now. It's one of those. But I'm a person that usually has buyer's remorse. I usually buy shit, not all the time, but a lot of the time I usually buy shit and I almost instantly regret it. This is a very big, expensive purchase, and I have not regret this thing once. Like, this has been a dream for me. I absolutely love this bike, and I would do it all over again, for sure. 100% I would do it all over again, man. This bike is literally a dream, and you know, every time I jump on it, I'm just instantly put in a good mood. So yeah, listen, if there's anyone considering picking up an S1000Rr and you're kind of on the fence about it, you're worried, you're like, man, it's an expensive bike, I don't want to spend this amount of cash and then I end up getting a lemon, I would say, you know, do your due diligence, do your own research, and you know, kind of shop around for an S1000 like I did. Make sure it's the one that you want, the colorway and everything, but make sure it's like low mileage. Make sure it's adult owned. You know, my guy was probably like in his 50s, mid 50s, man. Family, kids, all the works, business for himself, everything. So yeah, make sure you're shopping around for a low mileage S1K if you're in the market for one. Make sure it's clean. Make sure the owner is, you know, I would say make sure the owner is older, because they tend to be the guys that are not going to bring the bike out. And don't rush into it. Take your time, do your due diligence. The issues with the Gen 3, from what I've seen, the biggest issues is the cam chain tensioner, which starts rattling. My bike is now at 10,000 miles. I haven't got the rattle yet. What I heard helps is that you don't switch out to any different oil other than BMW. Otherwise you get that rattle. And that rattle is said to come from a bolt, so you just literally change out a bolt and then that's it, the rattle goes away. And yeah, that's like literally the biggest issue that I've seen that comes up with these Gen 3 S1000s. You know, coming from a regular average Joe that was kind of nervous himself to buy an S1000, I would say go for it, man. It's definitely an experience. It's something that you probably will not regret. You got to take it from a guy that damn near regrets every purchase he makes, man, or at least a majority of them. It's just a great bike, man. Let me just go around this guy. He's going a little too slow. It's an older lady. But yeah, take it from a guy that usually always has buyer's remorse. I do not regret buying this thing at all. I would do it all over again, like I said. But hey, you know, your choice, your money, you know, you only live once, keep that in mind. And if you got a chance and you're put in this position where you could buy an S1000, man, I say freaking go for it, man. Go for it, go for it, go for it. Take a little spin through the nice neighborhood here. Houses back here are so nice. Beautiful neighborhood. By the way, I'm on my way to work. This is where I'm going. I don't know if I think I mentioned in the beginning, but yeah, I'm currently on my way to work. Pretty much here now, just taking a little spin through the neighborhood that's behind my job. I just like taking a look at the nice houses every now and then. Oh, that one's nice and calm. Ooh, I don't want to go through that water. Let's go through the one way. Alrighty, so here we are at the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, I said it wasn't going to be like some crazy in-depth video or anything like that. But yeah, man, short-term review from your average Joe that just pulled up to his 9 to 5. Yeah, that's all this video was, man. Hopefully you guys took away something from it. But yeah, like I said, the experience of owning this thing is all worth it, man. Anyways, look, I think I was babbling, but yeah, here I am at work. Gonna jump into my shift. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.